Well, the back of the pickup has quickly become a parts storehouse. So we can actually do a little bit of work. It's kind of filler work. So we got the intake elbow. You guys might have seen that. Got the ECU kit with all the harnesses and goodies. There's the kit number, by the way. If there's anybody out there dumb enough to do what I'm doing and spending all this money on a inline six. We got all of our harnessing right here. This is all half terminated. It's going to have to be completely terminated. And I think John might help me with that, actually. I'm trying to talk him into coming out to California for a few days. And between the two of us and our meticulous wiring, I think that we might be able to make this real nice. So, but we'll see. This is the Bosch wideband. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I may have in a previous video that I decided to go with the Bosch because the NTK was severely back ordered. They had this kit in stock. I really didn't need the NTK. I was just kind of going all premium because I don't want any problems. But really, it's for boosted applications. Really high performance stuff. It's not anywhere near what I need, so the Bosch will do just fine. I believe this is the ECU that's in here. It should say on here somewhere. Yeah, it is. It's hidden underneath the sticker, but it does say ECU under there. So yeah, that's the ECU. You know, you spend this kind of money, you get 2 free stickers. Woohoo! This is the ignition harness right here, and this I think is a fuel injector harness. So this is the injector, unterminated, universal unterminated injector harness for, I think that I did order it for 6 cylinders, so it should have only 6 EV1 plugs in there. Like I said, the ignition harness. This is the I/O, or input-output harnessing. And of course the ECU. So that's what comes in there. And then this is the main power harness right here. I also do have in the box over here, let me see if I can dig it out, the Hyperspark adapter. So we needed that to adapt that ignition harness over there. So we got that. And of course, you know, I think we went through all this stuff. So I think maybe what I'll do, rob some of these vapor guard adapters too to put that fuel pressure pulse regulator in. I might assemble the throttle body. That's something that I can do. Don't really need to do it now, but it's work that needs to be done, and it'll be nice to have it done already. So this is the intake elbow right here. So we can get the map sensor installed in this. We can put the adapter plate on here. You know, so that goes on here, and we get our LS3 throttle body, and we'll bolt that on there, and that'll make that a complete unit. All right, let's get this party started. So this is the intake elbow. I think I mentioned this before. You guys have seen it, so I won't drag it on. Here is where they have the map blocked off right here. I will be using an LS style map sensor. Yeah, it goes right there. So I will be removing this, and I will be putting the map sensor in it. It's one less thing I need to mount somewhere. So got that. We're going to get the adapter plate going here. Here's the adapter plate. It does use an O-ring. I mentioned this before. This O-ring will seal the throttle body, but you use a standard gasket on the back. Luckily, the whole kit comes with everything. So for those I'm doing this for those of you that want to see this or understand how this works, because this is one of the first ones that I've certainly seen that has multi-port fuel injection that's actually going to have the appropriate size throttle body. If you guys follow Matt Cox with Vintage Inlines, he is doing this with one of his new heads, but it's got a 1000 CFM throttle body on it. It's way too big. Depends. It's way too big if you're building kind of a slightly modified motor like I am. If you're going with a boosted application or something like that, yeah, 1000 CFM is probably pretty appropriate. Even then, with 200 cubic inches, it's too big. Naturally aspirated, this is 440 CFM. Arguably, it's still a little bit too large, although with fuel injection, it's not as critical. If it was a carb, I'd want to see about 350 CFM on this motor. Anyways, here's the gasket. Like I said, the gasket gets mounted on here. Trying to keep this all in frame for you guys. We'll do that, get the adapter plate. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is a little bit aggravating. It did come with a throttle bracket. It didn't say that it was going to come with a throttle bracket. I ordered the adjustable one from Motion Raceworks. I probably could have used this one, so you know, there's a lesson for you. But this mounts on the side over here, okay? So that's a little bit aggravating. I may even use this one just because it's a little bit more simple. But we'll see. Maybe we'll need the adjustment out of the Motion Raceworks one. So came with a few other doodads. You know, these are the studs, which we will need. There's some plugs here for some vacuum ports on the back of this. I'm absolutely going to love having vacuum ports again. So one of the things about the Jeff head, it doesn't have any vacuum ports on it other than what the EFI's got. It's just the way that he has to do them when he converts them. So anyways, we got all these ports back here. I will probably plug at least 2 of these. Probably use one of these for the booster, and the other one for the PCV. So as I sit here and hum and haw, I know everybody loves that. Okay, so let's get this unpacked here. This is the adapter, like I said before. We'll get this going. And we'll probably do some fast forwarding here. I'm not going to post every minute of this. It would just be incredibly boring for you guys. But you'll get to see what this looks like as a finished product. It does come with some decent hardware here. So we've probably got 4 of the same length, I would imagine. We do. The 4 shortest ones, those are going to be what bolts the adapter to it. And then you're going to have varying lengths. You got 3 of one and 1 of the other for, let's see, now why is there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder why there's 8. Maybe it's because there's 2 different throttle bodies that'll fit on here. We'll find out as soon as we get that open. Let's get this mounted on here. So we get the gasket, 4 bolt LS throttle body as they're known, 4 bolt gasket. No sealer, nothing like that. You know, you guys should know that already, but I've seen stranger things. People love to put silicone on stuff that doesn't need or warrant silicone or actually can harm the performance of the gasket. Also, I'm automatically putting this on top. That's because I know that the LS style throttle body, this cutaway for the IAC, goes on top. At least I think it does. Let's double check. It does. So that would go there. Okay. So we'll just get all this hardware in. Okay, I've torqued this to, I think it's good specifications. No real issues there. So that's what it looks like from the side. And now we'll put the throttle body on it. Pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, all this stuff is commercially available. Looking at this throttle body, I'm going to want 3 equal length bolts, which is what these are right here, I imagine. Yep, that looks correct to me. I assume there's a different throttle body that might have this bolt. That's probably why they give it to you. These are metric, by the way. It looks like 5mm. That's because this era of Chevrolet stuff would have been metric anyways. So this all looks good. It looks just ready to bolt up. I'm not going to put anything on that O-ring. It's not going to need it. It'll seal just fine. So the biggest caution here is all this stuff is aluminum. So don't cross-thread anything. I don't know why I'm explaining all of this. It's not like anybody else is ever going to do this. Maybe if somebody sees how well it goes or how well it ends up working out. I have no idea how this thing is going to run. It's not like 2V conversion where everybody and their mother's done one now, and Jeff's built 1,000 heads. No lock washers or anything on this either. I don't see any need for it. Yeah, it's like I said, I don't know how this is going to work out. This is kind of almost a gamble, which is kind of scary because quite a bit invested in doing this, but I wanted to do something different. And definitely could have put a V8 in it. It probably would have cost less. But, you know, it's all right. Okay, we'll get this all snugged up. I felt it stop, which means it compressed the O-ring. Just, you know, just a little bit past when you feel it start to get real tight. It'll get real tight real quick because there's not much give in anything here. Yeah, I just saw the gap close there, so that's probably pretty good. Here's what it looks like. This is the complete unit right there. Maybe we can adjust this up a little bit for you guys. So 440 CFM throttle body on a Holley EFI elbow. Gets us to a 4150 adapting to a 4150 pattern. So let's put the map sensor in it next, and of course that's going to be a different size. Let me get the map sensor and I'll show you guys how that fits in there. Well, thank you, Holley. This is a different size, of course, and it's standard 3/16. So go figure. Pop this out of here. Now you can get this map sensor. I bought the Holley one just because Holley was graciously giving me a discount on some of this stuff. So I just bought the Holley version, but this is just a standard LS, and I'll give you the part number. Well, it's on here. It's a 870021, but it's a standard LS1, I believe it is. I always get the two crossed up because there's LS1 and LS1, 2, and LS3, and those are, the LS3 is different than the others. This is in here pretty good. Let me get a screwdriver. Just very carefully get this out of here. The O-ring holds it in, is what's going on. I know you guys can't really see it, but there, pop that out. See, it's got an O-ring on it in there. We're going to replace it with this. So now our map sensor, and it just, it's so sexy to me, I think, you know. Our map sensor will just live right here. Now I don't need to mount a separate, you know, the old style GM map sensors that look like a rectangle. I'm not going to have to mount one of those anywhere. I want to say that the kit came with one. So if I need it, I can. This is a 2.5 bar map. So I obviously not going to need that. Let's just put just a little bit of engine oil on this O-ring. Just it doesn't need much. If I could just get a little bit to come out of my oil can without making a giant mess. There we go. Just made a giant mess, of course. Just want to put a little bit on there. You don't want, you do not want to put that in there dry. It won't seal properly, and you could tear up the O-ring. You don't want to do that. Of course, I got oil all over everything. It just doesn't. It doesn't take much though, and it makes it go in just so much easier. Look at how that popped in there. And we just put this back in here. And now we've got ourselves a unit. It doesn't need to be very tight either. We've got ourselves a unit that has a map sensor right here, the IAC here, TPS here. So that's great. We got a bunch of bases covered. The manifold air temperature MAT sensor. That will go into the head plenum. The plenum on the head's got a couple of ported NPT ports on it, so I'll be able to put the MAT, manifold air temperature sensor, in there. Coolant temp sensor will stay in the head where it is now. O2 sensor will go where it is now. I think that covers all the bases. I might be forgetting a few things. Of course, ignition stuff, the hyperspark it'll use. Jeff has the rest of the injectors. I kept 2 of them. I had 2 spares. Jeff's got the injectors for fitment right now. So, anyways, that's just a quick assembly of the throttle body unit. I think that's pretty sexy. This is going to mount on top of the head. It will face forward. That's the best way to have the throttle cable kind of snake around over to it. We do have the Motion Raceworks adapter for the throttle linkage. Let's put that on there. Made in USA. Get this unpacked. I guess I'll use it because it's made in USA, but it's aluminum and it's a little bit more bulky than the one that came with it. I'm surprised the guy at Holley, who's really been awesome, by the way. I won't give away his name or information, but I found that all the guys at Holley are really good. This guy's just really been helping me out a lot. Responds to emails very quickly. I'm just surprised that he didn't tell me that it came with the steel bracket that was wherever I set it down. So anyways, this is fully adjustable though, which is kind of nice. So it would mount here or here, I guess either way. I would think you'd want it here because then it comes across to the throttle body right here. So it's not that critical. It doesn't have to be on here yet, but we'll just slip it in here for the show effect. So we'll just snug it. It doesn't need to be tight. It will get moved. Then the low car cable will go on here. Now that actually does not look right to me. It looks to me like it needs to be the other way because the cable is going to be potentially too low. So I did put it on wrong. I probably could have just looked at on the Motion Raceworks website and I would have known that I did that wrong. I believe it needs to go like this. Of course, like I said, I could use the steel one that it came with, which would be a little bit less bulky. Okay, just a little snug on it. Leave it. There it is. Complete unit. So, properly sized. This is going to work out very well, I think, on the VI head. This is really neat. Port injection. We even got a fly in frame. Well, welcome, little buddy.